Okay, let's dive into one of the most powerful, most intense scenes in all of Shakespeare. We're talking about a friendship on the brink of collapse, with the fate of an entire empire just hanging in the balance. This is the moment two allies, two brothers-in-law completely unravel.
So we're going to break down the moment the cracks in this great conspiracy really start to show. Picture this. You're in a tent in Sardis. It's right on the eve of a massive civil war, and the two main leaders of the rebellion, Brutus and Cassius, are about to absolutely turn on each other.
You know, the fight doesn't kick off with some big, grand debate about freedom or philosophy. Nope. It starts with something way more mundane, way more human. A simple accusation of cronyism and corruption.
So Cassius just storms into the tent, and he is furious. See, Brutus has publicly shamed one of his officers, a guy named Lucius Pella, and he completely ignored Cassius's personal letters asking for leniency. Cassius is basically saying, hey, it's wartime, you can't punish every little thing. But for Brutus, oh, this is no small thing. To him, it's a betrayal of everything they stand for.
And what starts out as, a disagreement about military discipline, it just spirals, and fast. It becomes this deeply personal, absolutely vicious attack. The gloves are well and truly off.
And there it is, Brutus' opening shot. He doesn't just disagree with Cassius, he goes straight for the jugular. He accuses him of the very thing they supposedly killed Caesar for, corruption. He's basically saying, hey, everyone knows you're selling positions in our army for gold.
And right away, Brutus raises the stakes. He frames the assassination of Caesar as this sacred act for justice. He asks, how can they, the supposed saviors of Rome, now go and contaminate our fingers with shabby bribes? You see, he's not just questioning Cassius's actions anymore. He's questioning his very soul.
And this is the core of it, right? This isn't just an argument about money. It is a fundamental clash between two completely different worldviews. On one hand, you've got Brutus, the rigid idealist, who believes their cause has to be 100% pure. And on the other, you've got Cassius, the battlefield pragmatist, the guy who knows that wars are messy, and sometimes you've got to look the other way just to keep things moving.
The insults just get colder and sharper. When Cassius threatens him, Brutus doesn't even flinch. He just delivers this stunningly cold dismissal of his own brother-in-law, his fellow general. It's like he's not even talking to an equal. He's just swatting away a fly.
So, just as the alliance seems completely shattered, you think they might actually draw swords on each other right here in the tent, the argument hits this dramatic, emotional turning point.
And then Cassius does something just unbelievable. He's in total despair, and he offers his bare chest and his own dagger to Brutus. It is a moment of just shocking vulnerability. He's saying, if you think I'm so terrible, then finish the job you started with Caesar. Kill me too. And this raw, desperate act, it just changes everything in an instant.
And just like that, the whole fight just de-escalates. Faced with this raw heartbreak from Cassius, Brutus's anger just seems to evaporate. He admits he was in a bad mood too, and he blames it on his own troubles. They clasp hands, and for now, the immediate crisis is over.
Okay, so with that emotional storm over, they call in their commanders for a war council. And it's right here that we finally learn the hidden truths that were fueling this whole ugly conflict.
We're about to find out that Brutus's uncharacteristic rage, that rigid, unforgiving attitude he had, well, it wasn't just about money or some abstract idea of honor. It was rooted in something much, much deeper.
Turns out he'd been hiding a profound personal tragedy from Cassius this entire time, all through their brutal, friendship-ending argument.
And in this quiet moment, Brutus just drops the bombshell. His wife, Portia, is dead. She was so overcome with grief about his absence and the growing power of their enemies, Antony and Octavius, that she took her own life by swallowing fire. And hearing this horrifying news, it instantly reframes everything we just saw.
But even after that, they still have a war to plan. They've got to decide their next move. Cassius, the experienced soldier, he argues for a defensive strategy. He says, let's stay put, let the enemy wear themselves out coming to us.
But Brutus, maybe he's reckless with grief now. Maybe he's just desperate for action. He totally disagrees. He gives this famous, powerful speech about seizing the moment, saying they have to march and meet the enemy at Philippi. And Cassius, exhausted from their fight, probably feeling guilty, he just gives in against his own better judgment.
So the scene and their fate is pretty much sealed. It all ends with Brutus alone in his tent, where the consequences of his actions come back to haunt him in the most literal way you can imagine.
The entire camp is quiet. His guards, his young servant, they've all fallen asleep. Brutus tries to find just a moment of peace, picking up a book to try and distract himself before the huge, fateful battle to come.
But as he's reading, the candlelight starts to sputter. A horrible apparition enters the tent, something that makes his blood run cold and his hair stand on end.
The ghost of Caesar appears. It calls itself Brutus's evil spirit and delivers this chilling, prophetic message. It confirms that they will meet again at Philippi, the very place Brutus just decided to march his army to.
And this leaves us with the huge, central question of the whole tragedy. Is this a story about supernatural fate, where a ghost predicts a doom that no one can avoid? Or is it really a tragedy of human error, where a broken friendship, a nasty argument, and one grief-stricken, terrible decision sealed their fate all on their own?